to the Master Hand Knitter Level 1 program. And I did receive my package back from the co-chair with all of my work and the comments, and here is the letter that I got back from the co-chair. And in this letter, you can see that I have lots of different colors highlighted, and that is because I read a tip prior to opening my package that said to go through with the highlighter and highlight one color with all of the good things that they say, one color with just general advice, and then one color with action items. So just you can see the pink is all of the nice, lovely things that they had to say. The orange is the general comments, and then the yellow is the action items. So I have to admit that when I first got my package back on Friday, I was quite disheartened with the amount of resubmits, and including the requirement to resubmit my mitten project. I knew I was going to have to do resubmits, but I did not realize that I was going to have to do so many resubmits. And so I was quite frustrated, and I read through my comments, and then I had to put it aside for the weekend and come back to it this morning with fresh eyes and a fresh new attitude, and just reminding myself that this is all about learning, and it's all about improving on the skill, and these are things that I maybe would not have picked up on my own. And so it is absolutely a good thing to have somebody, to have the best people reviewing and giving me feedback. And there was a lot of positive comments too, but it was just disheartening because some of the things that I thought I was taking care and looking at quite closely, it turned out I needed to have an even closer look at those things. Some of the general comments, just overall, my gauge was quite tight in a lot of places, and even my gauge worksheet, they said when they measured it, they didn't come up with quite the same gauge that I did. So obviously I have to look at that a lot more closely. In the same note as measuring, I was often a little bit short of the requirements. So if it required 2 inches, I was usually a little too short for 2 inches. So again, I just have to double, triple, quadruple check my measurements, because apparently I was off on that in a lot of places. Another issue that they said I had repeatedly kind of had was with my tail weaves. They mentioned using the duplicate stitch, and that was one that was pretty frustrating to me because I thought I was using the duplicate stitch, but what the co-chair did for me was actually weave in a dark color on the back of one of my swatches to really highlight the example of the duplicate stitch, and I could see that mine was a little bit different. I wasn't quite getting it in the right spots. So that's something that I need to practice on. They also mentioned that my tail weaves were a little bit too short. So that was, again, just something that I never would have thought of, and now I need to know that I have to really be a lot more careful when I'm looking at weaving in my ends. Another comment they had was that the blocking was not always perfect. A lot of times the edges were curling, so I probably needed to let my blocking dry a little bit longer. Also, in some spots, they found pin marks, which I thought I was really careful about looking for pin marks. However, I think a lot of them were on the wrong side, and so I think I was looking where I was putting the pin, but wasn't quite making sure that it wasn't piercing through the yarn on the wrong side of the fabric. So again, just knowing that I have to be a lot more careful when I'm blocking. And then also my cables and my ribbing were stretched, and that I was a little unsure of, because with my cables especially, because the swatches are squares, and so I remember being a little unsure of how to block it just because the edges go to one length. And so then I kind of blocked it to be the same throughout, which I don't think I should have done that. I should have let it kind of shrink in. And same with the ribbing, apparently. I don't think I blocked the ribbing part, but when I'm blocking, I think I need to just make sure that my pins aren't pulling even the top part of the ribbing, so that doesn't stretch out. And then there was just some issues with tension. I had some guttering in some places. Again, I just need to be more careful and look. In retrospect, I think maybe I tried to get through the whole submission too quickly. I had a very hard time when I was doing the swatches with, okay, what is perfect? And well, they say it doesn't have to be perfect because it is hand knit. So I had a hard time with what is good quality work, and where there are going to be imperfections. And I think I have a much better idea now on what I need to do. And when I redo all of my submits, I do plan to kind of just take a breath, slow way down, make sure that I'm completely 100% satisfied with each swatch before I resubmit it. So that being said, the list of items that I do have to resubmit are swatch 1, swatch 2, swatch 6, on swatch 7 I only need to do the swatch information sheet. Swatch 10 I need to do both the swatch and the swatch information sheet. Swatch 13 only requires the swatch information sheet. Swatch 16 pattern, apparently I forgot to include it. Swatch 17 has to be redone. 18 has to be redone along with the swatch information sheet. I have to redo the gauge sheet. And then some of the questions do require either additional information or for me to rewrite them. And then finally, unfortunately, I have to redo the mitten. And I am really quite bummed about that, although they did say that the mitten was done really nicely and they hate to have to make me redo it. However, there were just a few too many mistakes. So I plan to take at least a week for each swatch, if not longer, just again so that I can slow myself down and make sure I'm really looking at it, really critiquing it, and really knowing that yes, this is truly the best that I can do. Especially since I know now that I do really have to work harder on my attention, and that is really going to be difficult. So my plan is to slow it down and work on about one swatch per week. I will continue to post updates as I work on my resubmits, maybe not every week, but every 2 to 3 weeks, and I will give you updates on the details of what exactly is required to be redone for each swatch. And then I will provide pictures of both the submitted swatch and the redone swatch, so that hopefully that will help anyone else out there trying to work on their master knitter program, and that maybe they can learn from my mistakes. So I do look forward to giving you updates on my submission to the Master Hand Knitter Program Level 1. If you like what you saw here today, please like, subscribe, and comment below. It does a lot to help out my channel. I look forward to hearing any comments you have, and please let me know if you are also working on your own submission. I love to hear from other people who are going through the same thing as me. So take care, bye!